Dr. Swadique, you were born to a Hindu Brahmin family, the highest and the most sacred to the most sacred class of the Hindu tradition. How did you become interested in Islam?
Well, from the early childhood itself, I was much enthusiastic to know about God. And I used to observe the universe like the flowers, the blossoming flowers, the butterflies, the stars, the sun, the moon, and why it is being made, what is its role. There should be some secret behind this, and who has made it, I used to think of. And as my studies went ahead, I was much spiritually attracted because of the teachings of Hinduism, the Gita. And I studied Sanskrit exclusively to know about the scriptures, the Vedas, and it was my favorite subject. It was my ambition to know about God, to go close to Him, please Him.
While you were in the school?
Yeah, in the school itself. And my spiritual thoughts started with some verses in the Gita. Arjuna asked Sri Krishna, Sthita Prajnasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava stidadi kim prabhasheda kim asida vrajeda kim. It's a question about the qualities of an ideal personality. And Sri Krishna answers at length about so many attributes of a good personality. And from that I got attracted towards that, and I started practicing these things, cultivating these qualities into my life. And it was a big, tedious job, because in my previous faith, the Hinduism, if one has to attain the highest level of self-realization and nearness to God, he has to become a saint. He has to become secluded from all the pleasures of the world and keep away self from all the pleasures of the world and hardships to please God, to get the pleasure of the God. You see?
So, but that doesn't make you interested in Islam. My question was...
Yeah, I'm coming to that. And it was a very hard and tough life, but still I practiced that. And there is a description of the soul in Bhagavad Gita. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavaga, na chainam kledayan dyabo, na shoshayade maruda. It's an exact description of the soul, and it is everlasting. The soul doesn't die, it's eternal, and it is forever and ever. And I was much concerned and to know more about the soul, about the existence of God, and become more close to Him. And during the course of my own studies and research, rather, I studied a lot about the Vedas, the Upanishads, the Purana, and so. And I used to, more than learning the things, I used to practice some of these into my life. That is why I landed up in a saintly life. And I used to pray to God that if there is something which is harder than this, I'm willing to do it for you. I used to pray to the God. And finally, I found out that the way which I was searching for, that is Islam. Because even my conversion from Hinduism to Islam, I didn't have to change much in my faith about God.
Concept
of God. Because in Hinduism, there are many sorts of different kinds of philosophies. For example, the Advaita, the Dvaita, the Traita, Vishishtadvaita, and so many types of philosophies to describe God. The concept of God in Veda is different, that one is in the Purana is different, and what is being practiced nowadays by the community is different. And nowadays it's absolutely it's a polytheism, but we can find out in the Vedas, many parts of the Vedas, that God is one, and monotheism you can see.
Is this something that you found intuitively or through your study?
Yes, my own study. I was much confused because of multiple philosophies, and I was not able to find out what is the true and what is not. And I was struggling. Whom should I place? Which is my deity? Some deities are powerful than the others. Some fight with one another. Like that, so many things are there. But in my inner mind told that these sort of worshipping the creations, whether the living people or dead people or animals or stars or moon or sun is not worthy of doing. What we have to do really is to worship the creator of the universe, and who is the all powerful, and he has designed the world without any examples, and he is the most powerful one, and we have to worship him and not the creations. So that was my thought even before Islam, and I used to worship the one and the same God who is the powerful and creator and sustainer of the universe.
And coming from a spiritual family and coming from a spiritual background, you had a peripheral awareness of other faiths, of other religions?
Yeah. In fact, I had studied a lot. I did research on the Hindu Vedas, Upanishads, and the other scriptures. At the same time, I did study a little bit about Bible and the Christian faith too. When I did my pre-medicine in it was a Christian management college, Christian college. I did learn about the faith in Christianity too. So,
as a medical student, did you have to look at any kind of scientific evidence to prove, or did you have something to do with that education towards finding to the
No. I was not at all concerned that way.
How did you end up taking up MBBS? And we know for a fact that you got 285 rank in an MBBS, entrance examination. That's not a small thing. So, those are like very contradictory. You being searching for a saintly life, a spiritual life, as well as you want to get into a medical field of education. How
Probably a competitive one.
Yeah, I got to the medical school, and it was from early days, I had an ambition to become a doctor, and I tried for that. I got admission in the medical school. And during my studies in the medical school, my aim was to complete the course and later go to the Himalayas and settle down and in one of the ashrams and become a saint. That was my plan.
So then you encountered Islam. Tell us about that. What was your encounter?
During my research and also the practice of my saintly sort of life, I prayed to the God who is the creator and sustainer of the universe that if there is something harder, then I'm willing to do that. And later I came to know that about Islam, and that is the way I was searching for. And in fact, it was much easier for me.
Right.
People say that Islam is a tough religion and difficult to practice, and there are restrictions, so many restrictions, and so. What I felt is it's an easy and a liberal way of living, comparing to my previous practice.
Right. Doctor, let me ask you this. From a cultural point of view, what were India or in Kerala, pretty much. We are very connected with the family. What were your parents' response when you converted to Islam as an ideology?
They didn't object because my research and studies I used to openly discuss with my mom and sisters and at home, and they also, whenever I found out this is the way, they also joined me in the faith as well as in the practice of the prayer and all. So they didn't have any objections, and they were with me, behind me. But my father, he was not that interested either in Hinduism or any religion. He didn't even have any practice of any religion, and he was indifferent, and he didn't either object or support. And even other relatives, they didn't have any problem at all. Even after that, my conversion to Islam, I lived in my own house.
You didn't have to go out?
I didn't have to go out. I stayed there for 2 years, and I practiced my faith.
I'm really interested to hear about how the practice of Islam differed, or how it was after the faith you were up in. You were used to practicing, the traditions of Hindu puja, probably. But how was Islam different? How would you say?
Well, Islam is the faith which I had before and after is the same, because I did worship only the creator of the universe and none of the creations. I didn't have to change much. And regarding the practice, I did the 5 times prayers, that's all. And it was not a big issue. I used to do it either at home or in the hostel. I did the prayers.
So did you have to change your name?
No, I didn't need to.
So what was your name before this?
It was Satyaradhan, but for maybe I think 2-3 years after.
So I would say Dr. Swadique. Swadique is the name for Satyaradhan.
No, that I had to after a lot of pressures from my own community and people. They made a lot of trouble to me. In fact, I had to face a lot of trouble. My parents or my family, my neighbors, they didn't have anything with me. But in between, later, after 2 years of my changing the faith, some people came in between, started making trouble. They approached me, they threatened me to kill me unless I leave my faith and go to their faith and customs and beliefs. But I didn't want to. This is my conviction, and I have to.
Why were they so threatened? Why did they feel threatened?
It's up to them.
Were these political leaders, or?
They are not political. They are some sort of religious fanatics, rather we could say. It's a group of people. They create like this.
So your father was supporting them, or?
No, he was not. And but somehow they took over my father in the sense that they went to my father and told him that to compel me to change my religion, my faith. And I didn't obey to that, because this is my conviction. I have to do what my mind says, what is right to me. And I didn't change my faith. So these people, they compelled my father, pressurized him, and threatened him that they will kill me unless he signed some papers against me to produce in the court and the police, saying that I'm mentally ill and I have to be detained in a mental hospital, admitted in a mental hospital and subjected to psychiatric treatment.
Why would they want to brand you as mad? Why would they want to do this?
There could be many reasons. One thing, I didn't surrender myself to their demand. I didn't change my. I didn't obey their commands. So they felt that, they told me that they felt that it's a shame for them to a reputed family member from their side to accept Islam. It's a shame for them, and they want to get rid of that shame so that they could claim that I am a madman, I'm a lunatic, and that's why.
To discredit you.
This was at the time of your studies, right?
Yeah, that time I was doing my final year.
And where were you
Imagine that
staying?
backdrop.
Where were you
It's
staying
amazing.
all this while, all this trouble?
That time I was in the hostel, and weekends I used to stay at home. Rest of the time I used to be in the hostel. And also, by labeling me as a psychiatric lunatic person, they could negate my will, that I won't be able to approach the court of my own or appoint an attorney or argue in the court for my sake, because a lunatic person, he is considered as mentally he is not sound, and he has to have a custodian.
Right.
And naturally my father will be the custodian, so that he will be my guardian, legal guardian, and these people, they can pressurize him, they can do anything, they can, through pressurizing him, they can put me lifelong behind the bars, just like in the prison, in a mental hospital cell.
Right. So did you have any police escort as well? Were they for your protection?
They filed some fabricated case against me, and yeah, I appeared in the court. I declared that I'm not unsound person. I can manage myself. I don't need any.
What was their charge to bring you to court?
They filed a fabricated case that I'm a man and I was kept in illegal custody by my friends, my classmates. I was detained. I was not detained. I was free. But they made
You're studying
a
for
false
exam.
allegation and case.
Were you able to practice your Islam under the detention?
Yeah, of course. The detention started in a month of Ramadan, and I was able to complete my fasting. I didn't have to. I didn't lose any day of fasting. I did complete that, and the 5 times prayers I did the proper way. And for the Jummah prayers, I used to get ready in the morning, take bath, change my clothes, and get ready. And I used to walk up to the door, and I used to pray to Allah, I can do only this much, the rest is with you, to take me to the mosque.
I want a clearer idea of your conditions under detention. What kind of room are you in? Do you have an escort or anybody there for anybody guarding you? What's the
There was
situation?
12 policemen, all the 24 hours with me. As per the court's order, it was more for my protection, but in fact, it was just to detain me so that I will not escape out of this. During my stay in that detention, I was not allowed to go out and attend the classes. This period of detention, it started initially as the doctors, the medical board wanted me to examine for, initially the doctors who were in charge of the psychiatry department, they wanted me to be there for 10 days for an observation. And later on it got extended to another 10 days and then 10 days. And finally they gave a report that I'm mad. I feel that they were under pressure from this team of fanatics. And after that, this detention went on, prolonging for 5 months and 13 days. And it happened so because of an adjustment between my lawyer and the opponent lawyer. They jointly, every time either of them were absent in the court and they asked for an extension for their own reasons. And it seemed to be a means of pressurizing me, indefinitely extending the case beyond limits. And finally, I had to approach the High Court of Kerala to intervene. And that time, I had a problem because I wanted to entrust a lawyer, a new lawyer, who can represent me in the High Court, but none of my friends or lawyers there were allowed to come in and to give my signature and to give my authorization. So I asked some of my friends to file a habeas corpus petition on my behalf, and then later I joined with them. So finally the court has declared and ordered to set me free. And after that I completed my rest of the studies of my final year MBBS and then my housemanship.
Right. You mean to say, they were not allowing people to meet you, or was that?
Yeah. They were partial. Their behavior was, of course, they didn't favor me. As per the direction of the court, only my parents and my friends whom I want to meet, they can come in, no one else. But in fact, what happened is, that is the order of the court. But what is being done is by the police, it's entirely different. They could permit anyone from the opponent's side, but they used to restrict or prevent my friends coming in. Even at times, my lawyers were unable to come to me.
I want to back up a minute because I want to know how you're studying for exams, you're a medical student, you are rational at this point. How were they able to convince a court to transfer your custody? That's what I don't understand.
In fact, my detention that time was wrongly ordered by the court based on a law which is not existing in the land. It was ordered under Mental Health Act, which was not implemented that time in the state of Kerala. And many mistakes had occurred from the side of the court, as well as I think even my lawyers, they were not that learned in this particular case. That should have been the reason.
And you were given chance to talk to them while you were detained?
One of the main lawyer, he was allowed to come to me, but he didn't. That's only once in a while. But all the time, I needed to discuss with the lawyers, but I was not permitted to meet the lawyers. They were not allowed to come to me.
So the escort is not allowing your friends, your lawyers to visit you much of the time. Did anybody come visit you? Who would they bring in?
Yeah. The people, the opponents, they were able to send anybody to me. Even they sent me hitman to threaten me. And I was not bothered of that. They came to me and threatened me that I will be, even if the court set me free, they will kill me. So I was not bothered because I have accepted a faith and I am on the way to please my God, the creator of the universe. And in this struggle, in this path, if I'm killed, I'm happy because it's for the sake of the creator of the universe, for nothing else, none of the worldly benefits. And my ultimate aim is to meet my Lord in the state of a believer. And if I am being killed, I become a martyr, and it is a high rewards for me in front of the creator of the universe. And moreover, I can say, there were many other people sent by them, like people, those who do black magic. They tried to do black magic on me.
So what do you tell them?
Whenever any people, not only these people, there were people like, some people like my old teachers and some of the ladies, relatives, distant relative ladies, they came crying, sympathizing with me, what happened to you, boy? So, and some other people coming to threaten me, some other people coming to black magic me, but all the people, I used to make them sit in front of me, and I used to talk to them about the perishable life. This life is nothing. It's going to end in few years. It's only a limited. Everybody has to die one day. And ultimately, we have to return to our Lord, the creator of the universe. And the purpose of the life is to please Him. Nothing to gain some money or wealth or anything. It's not for the gain in this world. Everything is perishable. So I used to speak to them about the reality of the life in this world as well as the life in the hereafter. And those who came threatening me, they went back with smiling face. The same way those who came in crying, they also went back with smiling face. Those who came with angry face, they also went back with smiling face. So that's it.
No, I've read about this case. It was creating a stir outside. Did you know what was going on outside your detention?
No, I was secluded. I was totally cut off from the outside world. I didn't have. Ultimately, this detention, what the opponents wanted is, I should not have connection to the outside world, and I will come to know only what they say. Their people say mostly lies, and so that I will get fed up and I will surrender to them. that is what I want, that what they wanted. But that didn't happen, because many people, they came and threatened me by many means, like they won't allow me to continue my studies in MBBS. It's a precious course, everybody knows that. It's very tough to get into, even nowadays. It's very tough to get into a medical school. And they won't, either they will kill me, or they will not allow me to continue my studies, or they will put me in psychiatric asylum, psychiatric hospital, mental hospital cell for lifelong, many things like that, and take away my wealth, my ancestral property, so many things there. But I was not really bothered of these things, because already, even in the previous phase, my ultimate aim was to please God. And I was prepared to, after the course, I was not planning to practice, but go to the Himalayas and become a saint. So none of the material losses in the material world, I was not bothered at all.
How long was this detention?
It was around 5.5 months, exactly 5 months and 13 days.
Where are you getting this strength from? Do you have any sense that God is hearing you or seeing this?
Of course. I was most happy within that, rather I can say, prison, because at times my professors, who are the psychiatrists there, they asked me, are you able to sleep in the night? I told them I get good sleep. They told me that they are not getting the sleep because of the tension. They are under pressure. They gave a report that I'm mad, under pressure, under threat from the fanatics. And they were under pressure, and they were a bit upset. And even my relatives and those, even the people who persecuting me, they were also under pressure, because they were much worried about the result of the case, what the final outcome of the case. But I was the least bothered, because God is always with me, and I am doing all these things. I am being persecuted for the sake of Him, who is the creator of the sun, who is the creator of the moon, who is the creator of the earth, who is the creator of me and everybody. And if He want to set me free, He could do it, like as if He protected Abraham from the fire, that big fire, as if He protected Moses from the sinking into the sea, ocean, as if He protected Noah from the persecution of the people, as if He protected Jesus Christ. So all the messengers of God and all the believers of the messengers, they had, at one or the other time, they had to subject to some sort of persecution. So that's the same. And in the history, if we look back, by obeying God, people have to have some sort of troubles. And if we face that, He will definitely help us. And ultimate victory is for the believers.
Right. When people got to know about your conversion, like when the family and everybody knew about it, who all are the family members actually who came with you?
My mom and my sisters and my grandmom.
They all are.
Yeah.
They all Muslims.
Yeah, they are all. Yeah. Grandmom, she passed away, but my mom and sisters, they are with me.
Did they have to come across or face any problems in between?
Yeah, of course. At the same time, when I was put in the prison or the cell, they were also being arrested in a house arrest.
So they were held in the house?
Yeah, they were illegally held without even the knowledge of the police or the court. They were detained at home. My mother, she was a teacher, school teacher, and she was not allowed to go to the school to do her job. My sisters, they were studying, and they were not allowed to go and attend their classes.
And at the same time, you were practicing Islam within the...
Yeah, I was practicing Islam, and they were practicing Islam at home, but they were detained. And they used to be, in the same way as I had to, they also had to face all these sorts of threats.
The influence was for them to convert to Islam. Was that your,
Yeah, it was our own joint research, or all the research in the field of spirituality, we were together. we did it together. Every day I used to have discussions with them. They also were just like me, spiritually oriented people. So every day we used to have discussions at home. And at the same time, when I realized and I started practice of this Islamic monotheism and practice of Islam, they also were with me.
So how did it all end up? Like, what happened after the court verdict, and did you have to go back to school, and how was your journey after that?
Yeah, when the court set me free, I returned to my studies in the medical school.
Did anybody had problems again after that? Did somebody trouble you?
No, after that nobody came to trouble me. It was the end.
After going through detention, after this isolation, then you have to leave the detention into another isolation of studying for exams. It seems like on a smaller scale, maybe.
It can't be compared. The studies and this detention is entirely different. And during this detention, within this four walls, I was not permitted to go to the classes, attend the classes, but I took a special permission from the court to appear for one examination. That time I had to appear for the final MBBS Part 1 examination, and I cleared that exam. So that was also evidence in the court that I'm not lunatic.
Okay. What are the other things that you did during the period of this detention?
I had a lot of time, and I used to study medical books, also law books.
Right.
Yeah, I studied about the Indian Evidence Act, law of evidence, and some other books of law, and also psychiatry books like Oxford textbook of psychiatry. And I had studied about the medical report of these doctors who gave the report under pressure that I am a madman. And I studied about the disease, and I taught my lawyer about the disease and its signs and symptoms, so that he could cross-question the doctors in the court, and that helped him much. And in the court of law, these doctors were cross-examined, and finally they had to admit that the report is wrong, and I didn't have any sort of disease.
So you said you learned law when you were in the prison, in the time of the detention, right?
Yeah.
Why would you learn that?
I have to know that how the status of my case, is it going in the right direction, and what else I can support my lawyer.
But you were at the same time, you kept outside, like you were not informed what's going on.
But the court proceedings I was able to follow up. I was able to follow up the court proceedings, what happened in the court. After every proceedings, I wrote to the court to get the copy of the proceedings. And I could verify what is going on there. So, and at a time I had to change my lawyer, that I used to write to the court then and each and every moment that what next to I want. And at certain stage, it happened that my lawyer is not acting according to my advice. And probably he might be under the pressure or threatening from the same fanatic people. So he stopped acting on my advice. And I had to terminate him and then appoint another lawyer. That was a big issue because no lawyer can come inside my room, and I cannot communicate with him, discuss with him, authorize him to appear on my behalf. So I found it very hard.
This case, when it's over, I mean, you must have felt quite vindicated with the result, but at the same time, at the end, it's not like you were strangers with the people that you were fighting. These are your close family members, people that were very close to you, that attacked you and betrayed you. What happens after that? I mean,
but these are not my relatives directly. They were under pressure from these fanatics.
Outside.
Yeah. And even after that, I had good relationship with my relatives, and most of them, they used to come to me, my house, and even now I have good relationship with my people.
So who do you think these people are?
They are some sort of, you can see such people everywhere. Everywhere, yeah.
Well, would you say anything to these people, the people that you were put under tremendous strain and attacked by a group of people? What would you say to those people today?
See, these people, anybody my advice to any person is that the faith is an individual decision. And anyone is free to believe anything which is convincing to him. And no one else can change his faith by any amount of pressure. By putting pressure, it may be possible for others to make him some statements in the TV or in the media, but it cannot change the faith of that individual. The faith that is in the heart, and that happens according to everyone's conviction, and no one can change it. So my advice to the people, the fanatics or the other people, is that don't go and disturb anyone. Let everyone believe in their own ways, their own convictions.
So what you're trying to say is that nobody can force a faith in somebody else.
Yeah. Any faith for that matter, it's up to the individual whether to believe in something, disbelieve in something. It's up to that particular individual. He has the freedom, he has the right, he has the freedom to do that, and no one else should try to impose their faith or their belief or their religion or their thoughts in someone else. Everybody should have a free will.
I'm really interested to hear some of your experiences in detention. Did you have any visitors?
Yeah, I had a lot of visitors, especially my friends and those whom I want to meet. They were not allowed to come in. At the same time, those people are antagonizing me. They were free to come to me.
Where were you kept at this time? Was it a state facility or your parents' house?
It was a state facility. It was in the medical college where I was studying under the psychiatry department.
Could you get a sense of what kind of a stir this was causing on the outside?
Outside, everybody was tensed and pressurized. They were much bothered about the outcome of the case.
People say that Islam is a tough religion. Was there of any different opinion that you have about Islam?
My earlier life, it was much tough. In search of God, I had so many I have imposed so many restrictions on myself to lead a saintly life. But in Islam, everything is, the limit of forbidden is very little. The limit of haram and halal. The range of halal is too lengthy, and the forbidden things are only very little. So that means it's a very easy way of life.
Doctor, you didn't have much of a change in your attire, as well as, you didn't have a different opinion altogether about the concept of God. But why do you think that the people, who had opposed you and threatened you as this much? What do you think that would be?
In fact, I didn't have any drastic change in my faith, because even before and after, I used to worship only the creator of the universe, only the one God who is the real creator and sustainer of the universe. And in my practice, I didn't have much of a difference. I just added the 5 times prayers, that too in my house or in the hostel, and not, I didn't take up any membership in Muslim community. I didn't used to go to the masjid. I didn't have any association with the local Muslims. Just this practice. But because of their mindset of these fanatics, they started troubling me. And in fact, that made easy for me to practice Islam fully. Otherwise, I have to live a little bit of Islam. Now I have freedom to do anything. I don't have to fear these people.